Good day, my dear students. Hope you're all doing well. And this is our sixth video. Till the last video, we have seen different kinds of wars and revolts that paved way to the expansion of territory and unification of Europe. This section is slightly different from what we have seen till now. Till now, we have seen the wars and revolts. Here, it's about the romantic imagination and national feeling. Here, we are discussing about the role of language and popular tradition in the creation of national identity. What is popular tradition? Popular tradition means the existing popular or traditional art forms. For example, when you take the case of Kerala, we have Nadan Pattam. It's a popular traditional art form, Mohiniyattam and all. Culture played an important role in creating the idea of nation. What is culture? Culture is the existing ideas, customs, or social behavior of a society. For example, in the case of Kerala, we have the traditional sari or mund is one of a cultural importance of Kerala, and we have martial arts like Kalaripaita or we don't have to go that much like our language Malayalam, the idea of joint family. These are all uh, part of the culture of Kerala. So here we are discussing about culture. It played an important role in creating the idea of nation. How does that go? It is through art, poetry, stories, and music. All these art forms help to express and shape nationalist feeling among the people or among the citizens of the nation. Now we are looking at Romanticism. It is a cultural movement. See, in the earlier or the last previous year question paper, I have seen some MCQs. What is Romanticism? And there will be four options like like cultural moment, political moment, nationalist moment. So, what is Romanticism? It's a cultural moment. Okay. Romanticism is actually a literary moment. That is, Romanticism എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് it's actually a moment which we have seen in literature during the early 19th century. What is this romantic artist does is that here the artist, writers, and painters emphasize the idea of love. Love, in the sense, not only the love among two individuals, it's a love towards nation, towards oneself, or it can be towards nature. See, some romantic writers include William Wordsworth, Lord Byron, Shelley, Keats. They are all romantic writers. So they focused mainly on emotions, intuitions, and mystic feelings, and they generally criticize reason and science. They give importance to emotions, intuition, and mystical feelings. See, I have told the example of Wordsworth and all just to give you a small idea about what is romantic poetry. So, we are discussing about a different section, like how the writers who have instilled the feeling or who tried to unify nation through poetry and all. Their effort, these artists' effort, was to create a sense of shared cultural heritage and a common cultural past among the citizens to create the sense of nation. Now we are going to discuss about three such writers who tried to inculcate nationalist feeling among the citizens of Europe, and how did they do that? And three of them are Johann Gottfried Herder, next is Karol Kuprinski, and at last we are discussing about Grimm Brothers. So first going to Johann Gottfried Herder. He is a German philosopher. We have seen in the earlier section that Germany was divided into the Confederation of 39 states by Napoleon, and it was under French domination. This Herder believed that true German culture was found among the common people, and thus folk is a term in Germany which used to refer to the common people. Okay, Herder believed that folk dances, folk poetry, folk songs, these can all instill the true spirit of nation. The true spirit of nation, another name in Germany is Volksgeist. So he believed that these folk dances, folk poetry, and folk songs can instill the true spirit of nation among the citizens. He emphasized the use of vernacular language and collection of folklore to spread the idea of nationalism so that even the illiterate ones will get hold to the spirit of nationalism or the idea of nationalism. See, for a common man like us, as everyone, when you are for a common man or for any illiterate one or anyone, take we are coming switching back to the case of Kerala so that you can relate it more. So you guys, if you are guys exposed to see Kathakali and Nadan Patta or Nadan Patta or Nadodi Nirtam, like that. So it is a chance that we would understand Nadan Patta or Nadodi Nirtam more than Kathakali, because Kathakali, it's something, an art form which we need to study. We need to study about that art form to understand Kathakali. But in case of Nadan Patta or Nadodi Nirtam, at least we can understand what is the idea conveyed through Nadan Patta or Nadodi Nirtam. So that is the difference between Kathakali and Nadodi Nirtam or Nadan Patta. The same thing is what Herder is also telling, because he know that folk dance or folk songs or folk music, it had a reach even to the illiterate people. But some other art form which is of high class people art form ആണെങ്കിൽ ആ ഒരു റീച്ച് കിട്ടത്തില്ല. So that's why he chose folk dance or folk songs to instill the spirit of nationalism even among the illiterate people. Moving on, we have Karol Kuprinski. He tried to unify the minds of Poland through operas. Operas means opera is actually a theatre art form where music and paramount importance is given for music. So here he tried to unify the minds of Poland through operas, music, and folk dances like Polonaise and Mazurka was turned into national symbols. So with the video, I will attach in the Google Classroom, I will attach a YouTube link of this Mazurka. It's a folk dance. Just to give you an idea about what Mazurka is, it's simply a folk dance which is there in Poland. So he used these old folk dance to instill the these folk dances nationalist symbols and to instill the spirit of nationalism among people. Because why he tried to unify the minds of Poland is because Poland was partitioned by great powers like Russia, Prussia, and Austria. Next, we have Grimm Brothers. Grimm Brothers, it's Jacob Ludwig Karl Grimm and Wilhelm Karl Grimm. Both these brothers are commonly known as Grimm Brothers. Some of you might have heard about Grimm's fairy tales. It's actually fairy tales for children, and it's being read by the elder people also. This tales was written by these brothers, Jacob and Wilhelm Grimm. They are also from Germany. They saw French domination as a threat to German culture. Of course, when a country is being dominated by other country, the base country's culture will face a threat, because when India was dominated by British people, Britishers saw Indian culture as savage. The same would be the case of Germany also. And these German brothers, these Grimm brothers, they believed that the folk tales they had collected were the expressions of pure and authentic German spirit. And these brothers collected collected these folktales by traveling from different villages for almost 6 years. Read about these Grimm brothers. We have in the page number 15 in box 1 in the violet box, you have got about Grimm brothers. Please go through that too. Language too played an important role in developing nationalist feeling. As I have said, Poland was occupied by Russia, Prussia, and Austria. After their domination, Polish language was forced out and Russian language was imposed everywhere. When the armed rebellion of 1831 against Russian rule got failed, these clergy members means these bishops and all, bishops, priests and all are included in the clergy section. These clergy members of this Poland, they used Polish language as a weapon of national resistance. And many of these clergy members were put in jail as means of punishment for their refusal to preach in Russian. So here in Poland, they use Polish language as a weapon of national resistance against Russians. So this gives you an importance. This particular thing or this particular event shows us the importance of language as a importance of language in developing nationalist sentiment. So when you are asked such a question that to discuss the importance of language and popular tradition in the creation of national identity, all these points should be included. What this Herder have done, Gottfried Herder had done, and about Kuprinsky, what he had done about the popular tradition, what Polonais and Mazurka were turned into nationalist symbols, and you have to include the point of Grimm brothers. And very importantly, the importance of language is shown by the use of Polish language. Polish language was used as a symbol of national resistance against Russians. So all these points goes under this particular question. Okay, now moving on. The hunger, hardship 3.2, it's section 3.2, hunger, hardship and popular revolt. See, from 1830 to 1848, Europe witnessed a series of revolutions. The main section 3, you have seen that the age of revolution 1830 to 1848. So we are coming under the subsections of this main section, that is the age of revolutions, that is from 1830 to 1848. So here now we are going to discuss about the social condition. During 1830, social condition of Europe was in a turmoil. 1830 means the first half of 19th century. We are discussing about the social condition of Europe. These were the social conditions. That is, there was an enormous increase in population all over Europe, and this enormous increase in population resulted in unemployment, and because of unemployment, many people from rural areas migrated to cities for a job, to live in overcrowded slums. In cities, they were living in overcrowded slums. They moved to cities in search of job. And what was the end result was that small producers in towns face competitions from cheap machine goods from England. In England, there were industrialization happening in England, and these small producers of town, they faced competition from these small producers in town might be working with their own hand, and it will be of high quality, but they faced competition from cheap machine goods from England. And there was a rise of food price and bad harvest. These were the social conditions of Europe during the first half of 19th century. And because of there was rise in population, it resulted in an unemployment. people migrated from rural to city area for job, and small producers in town faced competition from cheap machine goods, and there was a rise of food price, and there was a bad harvest. See, I have set the social condition of Europe in the last slide. So we can see that it was all out of in a turmoil. അപ്പോൾ 1838 മുന്നോട്ട് ഈ പ്രശ്നങ്ങൾ വന്നുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. At last, these problems, all these years were witnessing problems. These problems resulted in a Peasants Revolt of 1848. It's a very important year because it's been asked in many of the question paper, the Peasants Revolt. So please note that this year, 1848. Peasants' revolt was because of food shortages and widespread unemployment. And peasants were there in the street fighting for all these problems. And Paris, so Peasants' Revolt, it's a series of political upheavals which was there throughout Europe in 1848. Throughout Europe witnessed this political upheaval. There was a series of political upheaval from the sides of peasant, but initially this revolution began in Paris in France on February, and Paris saw a massive rebellion. Barricades were erected and Louis Philippe was forced to flee. Who was this Louis Philippe? He was the head of constitutional monarch, which we have discussed in the last video. That same Louis Philippe was forced to flee because of this revolt. And the end result of this revolt was that National Assembly proclaimed a republic because Louis Philippe fled, right? And National Assembly proclaimed a republic and granted suffrage to all males above 21. Suffrage means the right to vote. And this right to vote was guaranteed to adult males. Please note this, adult males, only for males which was about 21 years of old. And the next point is that National Assembly guaranteed right to work, and national workshops provide employment. So the reason of this Peasants' Revolt was food shortage and unemployment. The National Assembly guaranteed the right to work, and national workshops provide employment for the peasants and all those other citizens who were unemployed. And in 1845, that is before 1848 of Peasants' Revolt, there was a series of revolts and uprising between 1830 to 1848. One such revolt was Silesian Weavers Uprising. Silesian weavers are mainly cotton weavers. This Silesia is the part of this place Silesia, mostly it is in Poland, and small parts of Silesia is there in Germany. Okay, what was the reason and what was this uprising is about is that weavers in Silesia had led a revolt against contractors who supplied them raw materials and orders for finished textiles but drastically reduced their payments. See, these contractors provide them with raw materials and gave them order, but the money or their payment was reduced very drastically. Page 16, we can see that the journalist named Wilhelm Wolff, the journalist named Wilhelm Wolff noted that weavers were in desperate need for jobs. Because as I have already said, they were all facing unemployment, and what these contractors have done is that they took advantage of that situation and reduced the price of the finished products. And journalist William Wolff noted that a small event is being described in your textbook, that is on June 4 at 2 p.m. large crowds of cotton weavers marched in Paris to the mansion of a contractor and demanded high wages and attacked his mansion. And it's about a situation where peasants were attacking one contractor's mansion. So this contractor fled away with his family, and he was not given shelter by neighboring villages. But what he had done is that he returned after 24 hours and with the army, and 11 weavers were shot to death. This so please note this year, that is Silesian Weavers Uprising and all. It's also important. So now let's have a recap of what we have gone today. That's about the romantic imagination and nationalist feeling. And under that section, we have seen about Gottfried Herder, Karol Kuprinski, the Grimm Brothers, that is Jacob Grimm and Wilhelm Grimm, and the social condition of 1830, and which have led to two uprisals. That is, in 1845, Silesian weavers, they were mainly cotton weavers, and 1848 Peasants Revolt. I know this video is a bit lengthy, but thank you students for listening. Thank you for watching, and hope to see you all soon. Thank you.